Ray?
Yeah, Sean.
What gives people the audacity to talk in the movies? At any level?
I don't know, and I hate it, and I think it's more common now because everybody is so used to being able to watch movies at home. And I have so many rules about how to behave in the movie theater in my head to the point where I'm probably on the opposite end of the spectrum why I'm annoying to go with.
I'm not a regular Nazi, but I'm a movie theater Nazi.
Oh, for sure.
Nobody has any rights but me in the movie theater. But I'm right. Like, I'm an authoritarian in the movie theater.
Oh, me too.
But I'm like, I'm getting this right. Like, I'm the one who understands this is a show, and I don't think it just comes from being performers and being like, you need to respect a show, which is true. I also think besides the people watch movies at home thing, because people have always done that for 40 years.
Yeah.
I think it's people are used to watching videos on their phone. Their attention spans are shot, including my own. I'm including myself in this. My attention span is awful. But when it comes to the movie theater, I'm the type where I'll ask you this. Well, you're going to agree with me. Coming attractions are part of the movie.
Yes, for sure.
And this is, I want this to be the question of the week with people. Are coming attractions part of the movie? Should you be quiet for coming attractions? And the only answer to that is yes.
The only thing that I will say, and maybe this is where we differ, is the only time that I talk right at the end of every coming attraction if I don't go by myself, if I go with a friend, where after a trailer, I'll go,
Oh,
and then I'll go, and then I'll
like
go
a
back.
light, yeah. That's acceptable.
A light tap, or maybe like a seriously. Is this the third trailer we've seen Channing Tatum in this coming attractions reel here?
The only time also I will excuse talking in a movie theater is a long time ago. I went to go see Zodiac, which is one of my favorite movies. It's got to be my top 20. It's got to be probably my top 10. I love Zodiac.
Right? I hated it when I first saw it. Loved it after. Because when I was younger, I was like, how don't we know who the killer is?
I know. That's frustrating. It's very procedural. Yeah. It's how the case went, apparently, for the most part. Except for some other stuff. But anyway, I went to go see it at the 18th Street, not Regal, whatever it is, the AMC on 18th, but it used to be called something else. I was really excited to see it. And a little background. Do you remember a movie called Brown Bunny that was made by Vincent Gallo?
All I know about that is there is a blowjob scene. Is
that
the one?
Yes. There's a blowjob scene in it, and Chloe Sevigny, the rumor is, and I think it's true, he was given an actual blowjob in the movie. I have never seen the movie, so I don't know what you see. I don't think you see it, but the actual blowjob was happening, right? So, cut to, I don't know, a handful of years later, I'm at the movie theater with my friend Blaine, and we're watching Zodiac. Chloe Sevigny's in Zodiac. There's a really tense scene between Jake Gyllenhaal and Chloe. They're married, and she's screaming at him. It's a lot. It's like high tension. The whole movie theater is pitch quiet. And my friend Blaine leans over to me and goes, "Is this the part where she sucks his dick?"
Did you die laughing?
I had to leave the movie. I left the movie theater.
Dude, I've maybe laughed the hardest in my life at a movie theater on something that wasn't meant to be comedic from the actual film. And it was what me and my brother refer to as the Avengers 2 fart. We talked, I was just with my brother yesterday. It got mentioned. We mention it like once a month still to this point.
What happened?
The hardest I ever laughed. We're in a pretty packed theater going to see the second Avengers movie, and there is one scene in it that isn't full of action. It's when they go to Hawkeye's. Have you seen the movie?
Yeah.
They go to Hawkeye's.
It's Age of Ultron, right? Wasn't that Ultron?
Yeah. They go to Hawkeye's.
It's a great one.
They go to Hawkeye's house, and you like meet his family, and it's real like down, and it's like the characters are getting sentimental, and we just hear the top of the theater. And me and my brother are there with my brother-in-law too, and we just start dying laughing. And then we like stop a little bit and we're like, yeah, maybe we just heard that. Maybe that was like a chair squeak or something. And then we hear like a minute later, and the dude's boy laughs. And me and my brother are losing it like you laugh when you're in high school and you know you're not supposed to be laughing because you're ruining the experience for everybody else. Like, I can't even look at him. I'm laughing. And then we notice my brother-in-law isn't amused. So it's making it even funnier
that's even
to
funnier.
me.
That's even better.
Like tears in my eyes. I almost left the theater. We should have left the theater.
We were also towards the back, made it a little bit easier. I got up. I had to run out. I was laughing so hard with that blowjob. I couldn't take the movie serious. I watched it and I got back into it, but I was like, I can't go back in. I cannot. You know, like the kind of laughing, like you said, where you can't get it back. Where like even you trying to get it back, you know you're not gonna. Where you're going, okay, let me just, and then you die again. Okay, let me just. You trying to calm yourself down from laughing is making you laugh harder.
Yes, you never laugh harder than when it's inappropriate to laugh.
100%.
That's like a dragon I chase, that laughter. I mean, it feels like after the fact, it felt so good. Like leaving that theater, I had to see the movie again because I didn't get the effect of that Avengers movie because all I could think about was that 10-minute laugh that I had and that fart.
Well, you know, they have that, you know, that corny saying of like, laughter is the best medicine. That actually is therapeutic. You could say that's what they're talking about because
for sure
you feel like afterwards you do feel looser. Like you feel like you're like, oh, I got some stuff out laughing that hard at something.
I felt like I exercised. There is nothing funnier than a well-timed fart.
Oh, it's fart equals funny. That's what they say on Opie and Anthony all the time back in the day.
It's rarely ever not hilarious.
There's another talking movie theater story I have is I went to go see Avengers Endgame. The Endgame is the last one. What's the one right
Infinity
before?
War.
Infinity War, which is with the one with the giant cliffhanger. At this point, if you haven't seen it, it's the one where Thanos snaps his fingers and you think he wins because everybody starts turning to ash and floating away. And it's like, and for one of those, it's a really well done emotional scene for a Marvel movie. And and there's a couple moments you're like, Jesus, we're there. There's some lady. Like, I didn't know it happened, but I was like, it's a Marvel movie. I enjoy them, but I still know the whole time you know a Marvel movie is a movie. And there was people that were reacting like their firstborns were being ripped from their arms. There was a woman behind me, and it just got even better and better as the people are disappearing into ash.
She farted?
No, that would have been.
Oh.
That would have been. I would have respected that more. She was going. She started small. First person goes. She goes, "Oh no." Every person. Oh no. Oh no. Finally, they get to Black Panther. Black Panther's there, and she goes, "Oh, please, no. And then he disappears. No, please, no.
Jesus, I wonder what she did when what happened to Chadwick Boseman actually happened. My God, nobody tell that lady.
Her family keeps it from her.
Yeah.
She's like, why is Black Panther not in the movies anymore? It's like, well, sit down.
God, that's so. Were you laughing at it?
I had to bite my. She was legitimately so upset. I had to do the thing where you bite your fist so she doesn't know that you're like she didn't know it was me laughing at her because it would have been painfully obvious.
You know what I've had happen to me in the movie theater way too many times, and I may have told you the story I'm going to go into here, where somebody kicks my chair behind me. And nothing makes me angry because it's such a here's the people pleaser in me. It's such a hard thing for me to be able to turn around during a loud movie and be like, "Yo, stop kicking my chair." Because that I also think like there's a lot of other people in this theater. I don't want to yell. And then I'm like, what if they weren't kicking my chair and I'm feeling some type of phantom, I don't know. Like that's what goes through my head. But the whole time it's ruining the movie for me because I'm like, I'm going to snap and then I'm like, am I being a pussy for not saying anything? But one time when I think I was like 12 or 13, it was when the movie Mr. Deeds came out.
Oh yeah.
I know that because I was at the movie Mr. Deeds, and me and my friend.
Wait,
went,
I'm sorry. How'd you know? Oh, because you were physically at the movie, Mr. Deeds. Okay.
Which
just want to clarify.
Not a good movie.
It's good for Adam Sandler. It's like an Adam Sandler movie. You can't miss.
It's fine. But I went to see it, and it was just me and my friend from junior high, and sitting behind us were like I would say like 5 dudes and 2 girls, and there were these older high school kids, and they're kicking the shit out of my chair on purpose, and they're laughing about it, and I can hear them laughing about it. And my friend that I was with is kind of a guy that would be a hothead and would turn around and try to fight them, even though we had no chance against these kids. They're way older than us. They're just they're dicks. They're jerks.
Yeah.
Legitimately. And they're kicking the chair, and they're kicking the chair. They're making fun of us. Like, even the girls are kind of laughing. So I was like, I got an idea. And I stand up and walk out of the theater like a mentally challenged person. I do a straight up handyman from In Living Color impression. I know it's not right, and I know in today's climate that's not right, but this was like 2002, okay? And it was for survival. So I do that, and I hear them like immediately gasp at what happens. So I go into the bathroom, I walk out, and I do it on my way back in, and I sit down, and I literally hear the girl that was with the guy yelling at him. I can't believe you did that. Why would you do that? I don't remember his name, but it was like, why would you do that, Jeremy? Did you see that? There's something wrong with that kid. This is ridiculous. I feel so bad. And they're so quiet back there. They went from being loud, disruptive, ruining the movie, to thinking they just, kicked the chair of a mentally challenged kid.
You did something evil to teach a lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like
It was one of the coolest things I've ever done.
But
in my
also,
life.
you were how old again? Like 13, 12?
I was 12 or 13, where you could make fun of a retarded person.
It's pretty quick thinking.
I was thinking
quick goat thinking.
It was 10 minutes of thinking, because they were kind of abusing us for like 10 minutes, like messing with us for a while, and finally I thought the one thing we could do is just get up and move and sit somewhere else. The other thing we could do is stand up and yell and possibly get beat up in a movie theater, or I could do my best I Am Sam impression.
What would have happened is you would have stood up, yelled, and they would have been like, me, and then just went back to doing it. And then if you would have left the theater or switched seats, they would have went and moved behind you there and kept doing it. Like, that's what teenagers do to like evil teenagers, which is what they were. They deserve what they got.
Yeah.
I think it was a necessary evil thing to do. It wasn't even evil. It was just, you were 12 going, how do I get out of this? You weren't even trying to teach a lesson. You're just trying to like, how do I survive this?
Survival, self-preservation.
Yeah.
And the great thing about it is when the lights, the lights came up a little bit, the credits roll, I just walked out of there like normal.
Did they see you?
I don't know. A usual suspects thing.
You Kaiser Soze them?
They like dropped their popcorn and started thinking about everything that happened the whole time they were watching me and kicking my chair during the movie.
Yeah, you start walking with the foot turned, and then it just starts getting better and better, and then you walk out normal. Yeah.
It would have been better if we were seeing The Usual Suspects.
That would have been great. Just The Usual Suspects ending.
And I had already watched it, and I did that to them, and they were like, wait a second. That would be the ultimate experience for them.
Like, he wasn't handicapped the entire time? I kind of get why you did it, though, so you got to get a pass on that one.
I think I get a pass on it.
I think you are just, like, when you're in that, like, preteen stage and teenagers, teenagers are the scariest to older and younger people. Like, anybody who's a fellow teenager, you're not as scared, but, like, because here's the thing, when you're older, you're scared for a different reason. Like, if you encounter like rowdy teenagers in the subway, you're like, well, even if this gets to a certain point, nothing can happen. I can't do anything because
worst case, it's a lose-lose.
It's a lose-lose, yeah.
Because there's one scenario where what are you going to do? Beat the shit out of a teenager?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even if it's like, I've been on the subway before where like I've never gotten messed with by teenagers in the subway, but I think I've come close and I've seen them doing it to other people, and I'm like, I really want to interject, like, but what am I going to do? Yeah, I would just beat up a 16-year-old. Like, you know, and also it's like
might be
there's
fun.
usually gangs of them, and you probably get murdered anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's like usually a bunch of them. It's like it's a whole gaggle.
Well, and there is a difference between a New York City teenager and a teenager anywhere else in the world.
That is true. Like when we were kids, and we were like, if you grew up in the city, it was like, ooh, it's like
Yeah.
you're a city kid, and they were like tougher, you know. And then we were like suburban Long Island kids.
There's just like 13-year-olds riding the subway by themselves.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, you can't smoke on here, kid. They're like, fuck you.
My girlfriend told me her dad grew up in Manhattan. He rode the subway to school at 5 years old.
That's
by
crazy.
himself. But I think that was the thing. I think it was different back then. I think it was like people would look out for you, or for the most part. I think that
He
doesn't
was more of a man than I am now when he was 5.
he was a really like man's man. This guy.
I get scared.
I
on
never
the
met him,
subway.
but I've heard so many
I
stories.
still get scared on the subway sometimes.
Yeah, everybody should. Oh, I do a thing with the subway, especially now because New York has been a little bit saltier than it was. I did it where was I? I was somewhere in Manhattan, and I was on a certain block, and I've lived in the city long enough to know, like I've been, from New York. You have this thing where you're like, something could happen. So I take whenever I have that one little feeling, I take my headphones off and I put them in my pocket, and I walk without headphones. And then you kind of do that thing where you do the side eye, where you look like it looks like you're looking to your side, but you're looking behind you. I don't know if you do that. I've had that happen.
I do.
couple times. Yeah.
How many times do you think that's at? What percentage of times that you do that do you think it's absolutely necessary?
It's very low.
Yeah.
It's low. I think it's more of a self-preservation thing. I think what it is a thing of going, I'll just do this to be on the safe side, but it's probably nothing. A couple different times where I thought it was going to be something, it was somebody just walking fast next to me.
Yeah, I do the key. I like hold my key in my hand.
That's a good idea. I don't do that. I should do that. Yeah. I bought like a harmless knife that I was like, oh, I'll carry this around with me, and I never did.
Oh, you rocking a blade? I didn't know you were into blades, dude.
It's 5 fingers long. It's a 5-finger blade.
Oh, you got a 5-finger blade?
5-finger blade. No, I think the blade isn't the blade thing. It can't be longer than 4 fingers put together in the city.
I don't know blade law in New York City.
I'm not
Listen,
an expert. I'm
like
not
you.
a blade guy. I'm not a knife guy. I have one knife that I use to open up boxes.
Okay,
I'm a
sure.
box cutter guy.
I didn't realize.
But when you encounter, like, you're right, like with the teenager thing, when you're younger, you're like, I'm intimidated by these teenagers. When you're older, you're like, I don't want to go to jail for punching a 14-year-old in the face. And also, I don't want to punch anybody in the face, but I don't want to go, that would be way worse for me. That's the kind of thing where you're being the good guy, but you become the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, by interacting with them or not just kind of taking off, you become the aggressor because you're the older person, even though they were assholes. You know?
It's going back to our Shooter McGavin Buzz argument. Mm-hmm. If those two got into it, Shooter McGavin, regardless of what happened, if they fought each other, Shooter McGavin would be wrong 99.999% of the time, maybe even 100.
Yes, 100%. 100% he'd be wrong because he's a good 25 years older, 20 years older than Buzz. But it's just immaturity. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it is. It's like that's what you're dealing with that. And like I remember being a teenager, but we were like not that bad. We had our moments, but we weren't like harassing people in movie theaters and we were pretty harmless. But speaking of immature, great segue. We both caught the Love is Blind. I want to spend a little bit of time on this.
Oh, I'd
the
love
Love
to.
is Blind reunion. And if you guys are Love is Blind fans, man, I hope you saw the reunion because, wow, Shake is just a superstar of grand proportions.
Reality, as far as reality TV goes, if he does anything else, he's making his way at some like Mount Rushmore territory.
Yeah,
He's hilarious.
He'll go down with Puck and Richard from the first Survivor. It'll just be
Puck.
Remember Puck from
Yeah, I
Real
remember
World?
Puck.
Puck was like the quintessential like I'm an asshole in the house thing, whatever. And he obviously was doing it to try to act like a tough guy and all this. And that was 20 some odd years ago. Shake is a different kind of that guy. Puck was like, I'm purposely being an asshole to you, and I know I am. Shake was like, no, I'm a good guy. Just saying awful things.
Everything that came out of his mouth in that reunion, if I had said that in the same situation, I would be sunk down in my chair and just so scared and humiliated. But he did not seem to give a fuck that nobody in that room liked him.
I think it's a recipe, a mixture of I'm playing the role on this reality thing, but I also think that is that dude.
Yeah.
Just based off him on the show, it's so funny because on the actual show, they edit it to make it look like he is that guy. And then he has a little bit of a self-realization thing when he's with her and he's like, hey, I'm not attracted. They almost treat it with kid gloves. He's like, I'm not attracted to her. I'm trying to get better at this. I want to be a better person. Like they make it seem like he's trying to like better himself.
Yeah, like he's having a revelation. But
Exactly.
what they said on that reunion is that the stuff he was saying about her to other people was way worse.
Yeah, which it also makes me. That's why I'm on the side of this show so much because most other shows would have just put that in.
They would have showed that, and I kind of appreciate that.
Yeah, and on that reunion, just based off their reaction to Shake, I'm like, these are actually quasi-real people. They're not just here to act on this reunion and fight and throw tables at each other. They're here because they looked mortified when this guy would talk.
The best is he's literally talking about how meeting people in these pods isn't natural and doesn't work, and everybody's like, yeah, man, that's the whole fucking point of the show. That's like going on Survivor and being there talking to Jeff in the tribal council and saying, Jeff, this just doesn't seem normal for humans these days to be without a home and running water and a bathroom to go to.
Yeah, it's going on Naked and Afraid and going, where's the clothes? Where's our clothes?
Yeah. Why is this lady looking at my dick?
Yeah. What about civilization? Where's my phone? Where's my car?
This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, 100%. And I think by the reunion, I think he actually was himself on the show. And then when he must have, man, you can only imagine the Instagram messages this guy got after the airing of the show. Can you imagine the blowback?
Like the hate that he got?
Oh, I'm sure it was 90-10. 90% hate, and then 10% of women who hate themselves that were like, hey, I'll hang out with you. Like, I guarantee you.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there's always somebody. There's a comic I have in mind who like has all these female fans, but he obviously has an issue, like a hardcore issue with women. Like it's like guys. Everybody makes jokes, but his are so like hardcore that you're like you just hate women. Like it's just full on you hate women. Like no irony, no comedy whatsoever.
I see that with Friends, where anytime like not the show Friends. But they seem to like women on the show Friends. The showrunner seems to be pretty pro female.
If you ask somebody that's younger than you, they would say no, it's misogynistic and it's homophobic.
Oh, really? They're certainly not pro minorities because there are
those
none
shows
in Friends.
never were. Like
Yeah.
that people get on Seinfeld's case. I'm like, well, who do you think was hanging out in early '90s Upper West Side Jewish coffee shop? Like, who do you think? Like, don't get me wrong. Yes. But like not that I'm saying they shouldn't have more black people on Seinfeld, but like I don't know, man. Everybody on that show is based off a real fucking person.
Yeah, sure.
So it's like it's not that big of a deal, and things have gotten way better.
But I have friends that when I go to for relationship advice or something like that, or if I had a fight with a girlfriend or a girl I was dating, and I give them the scoop, they never give me the honest feedback. Because they're always just like, yeah, women are wrong about that, dude. And it's just like, okay. So you stop going to them for advice.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I have friends like that too, where they'll say some stuff and you're like, I think you should look inward.
Their brains are smaller, and they just don't think like a man.
When you got dainty hands, you got dainty thoughts there. But absolutely. But no, so... I had like a brain fart for a second. That was crazy.
You just black out.
I just passed out for 30 seconds.
You didn't say anything for an hour.
No, but as far as the show goes, the reason why I think people love this show so much is first, the second season, they got regular-ish looking people, like some very good-looking people and some people look regular. And then also besides that, you can tell, I don't know, man. It seemed to me like a lot of them were like, hey, this is us. We're being ourselves here, just based off the reaction of that dude. Because normally what would happen is the minute he started talking, if they were all there for the show and to be in the spotlight, they would have started, how dare you, and had their moment. But if you noticed, all of them were doing, they were rolling their eyes and whispering to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how you know it's real.
Yes.
The two best things he did in that reunion is, one, I love when a guy snaps out and calls everybody fake in the room.
It was like, and it happened the first 3 minutes of the episode.
You know you're the problem when you tell everybody that they're the problem. And he just doesn't even get it. He's like, I'm the realest motherfucker in this room. Rarely do you ever yell, I'm the realest motherfucker in this room, and you're not the problem.
He was like Denzel in Training Day, but of reality show reunions. Who's like, Love is blind, ain't got nothing on me. It's on top of a car with two Uzis. Just absolute shit
Shane,
show.
Shane, I know you like to get wet. That's what he says when he's crying. Shane starts crying. Hey, Shane, I know you like to get wet. What?
Dude, to be honest, there was parts of that I was alone in my apartment watching it, and there was parts of the reunion that were so awkward. I looked down.
Yeah.
That's how awkward it was. I was like, I can't even look at the screen for this part.
That show brought me back to reality TV.
Yes, absolutely.
It brought it back for me.
You know what also did was 90 Day Fiance. 90 Day Fiance is pretty interesting.
Watched that.
You should watch it. It's fascinating. You wonder why these people do this, because there's all these different motives. I think for why some of them do the shows for the green card. If you know the premise, 90 Day Fiance, it's where this they have all different versions of it, where you know somebody, your fiance is for 3 months, and then you get married.
The Ben Shapiro jokes that we made on the last episode, those jokes aside, it is funny that all these shows that are reality TV now are really just shitting on how much of a joke marriage is. It's kind of sad.
I think it comes out of a whole lot of people, like, kind of, I don't know. I think things of like when humanity kind of progresses, I think that what you have is you have like people realizing like remember back in the day, they were like, no fat, get low fat yogurt, get this. Yeah. And now people are like, hey, how about not have everything have sugar in it? And people are kind of getting what like health should be and how the human body works more. The same thing happens with like marriage. I think a whole generation of people where like, I don't know, was it more than half of marriages and then divorce or whatever it is? People are realizing that you have to be realistic about stuff. Like, it's not good for people's mental health to stay in something that's wrong for them relationship-wise for 50 years, because then it comes out in a lot of shitty ways. Domestic violence, people, maybe some suicide, maybe people just being miserable the whole lives. You know, so it's good to like kind of check in with a reality, you know?
Because on one side, you look at a show like Love is Blind and you think, oh, this premise is seeing if there is something else that could make marriage work better than the traditional sense. But to me, it just seems like, nobody gives a shit. If it doesn't work out, they'll just get fucking divorced. Everybody gets divorced.
I think that's absolutely. I think that's the underlying context. Yeah. I think that's why you had multiple people ask people to marry them within the pods, because they knew, like, it doesn't really matter until we're on the altar and saying yes, I do, and even after that, it's like we get married for a week, show's over. Boom, we get quick annulment, a quick divorce. You're right about that. People have realized like marriage has become like a joke to a lot of people, and I don't think it should be. I think it's. I was married. I took it seriously. Like, I think it goes person to person, but people love watching stuff like that because they still. You know what's so funny? I think it's happening. Both things are happening. People think marriage is a big deal in their minds, and they find it very romantic and it's very grandiose. But on the flip side of it, they know realistically there's not as much of a taboo for being divorced anymore. So if you really had to, you get divorced.
Did you have a big wedding when you got
married?
It was
big-ish. It was like probably 150 people, 130 maybe.
Being a people pleaser at your own wedding, I think that's a tough situation. And it would be tough for me. If I had a party where there were 6 people there, I would be so concerned with everybody having a good time and giving enough of myself to each person.
That definitely happens. And when I go out and I'm the guy who will invite people from different groups of friends to a birthday party or a big hang or something like that. And I'm like, what you're saying at your wedding you'd be, that's what I am at. Like, I'm in the middle of patties running between groups and making sure everybody's having a good time. Weddings, you get off the hook a little bit because you're in it with another person. People understand that it's like you have to make the rounds and go. It also goes very fast. Like you don't even have time. I remember this. They tell you before you get married, like make sure you take time to like slow down and enjoy it and like take it in and like realize, oh, it's a big deal and it's a moment because you're taught people. You're like it's like you're famous for a night. Like you are literally people only want to talk to you the whole night. So you're bouncing around at tables, but you're also like you have no minute to even think is everybody having a good time because it's up to the other people you've hired. If it's like a traditional wedding, they're having the food, they're having this. Like I'm the same way as you with the people pleasing, obviously.
Yeah.
But I didn't think of it once that night because I probably, to be honest, I probably did ask people, "You having a good time? You having a good time?" But I wasn't really concerned because you were busy for 4 hours straight. It feels like if I had to be realistic, it feels like it's an hour and a half and it's like 4 hours.
You're completely overwhelmed then. I guess in that situation, you're too overwhelmed seeing every single person that is important to you that you just can't even the people pleaser in you kind of maybe takes a back seat.
It does. It's like you're Pete Davidson and Kim Kardashian out to dinner for one night in your life. What they must deal with on a weekly basis, that's you. You're the biggest deal ever
for 4 hours.
For 4 hours, and then you go back to being a nobody. So, but yeah, I know what you mean, because normally in a situation where I've invited people to hang out, like, texted, or I try to have a big birthday party each year because it was my 40th birthday party was the first one I did at Patty McGuire's in New York, and I invited every person I knew, and it was a big hang. And I've done one each year since, and invited everybody I know, and it's always a fun time.
One of my first interactions with you is the only time I met you was briefly. You did our show.
Yep.
At Eastville Comedy Club, and I just was like, "Hey, thanks for doing the show." You're like, "Oh, thanks for having me," and it was that. Boom. Then I would see you like in like walking past, and it would be like
all the time in Astoria,
like a wave. But then when I actually talked to you, we were in Othello Deli, me, you, and Colin, and you're like, "Hey, you guys coming to my birthday tonight?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure. Come on out. Come to my birthday." There is a girl behind us that must have heard us talking, a stranger, and she was like, "Oh, you're comedians?" And we're like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, I always thought about doing comedy." You're like, "Hey, you want to talk about doing comedy? Come to my birthday tonight. A birthday party." A girl you never met. She's like, "Where's it at?" You're like, "Patty McGuire's." We get outside and we were eating right out like in the outdoor part of Othello, and she's still standing there, and you're like, "Yeah, here, type it in. PADDYS." I don't know if she ever came. I don't know.
She didn't, I don't think.
She did not.
No, but the way she reacted, I was like, she might actually show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. My thought process was show up and talk to comics about doing comedy.
Well, and you were telling me, you kept going, because again, we first met, and you were like, "Colin, you have a girlfriend, right?" He was like, yeah. And you were like, "Ray, you're single?" It's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Hopefully she comes, man. You can talk to her. She's cute, right? You think she's okay for you? You'd like her?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, sure."
This is my second interaction with you? Yeah. Like actual real interaction?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Jesus Christ.
It was so funny, man. I was like, that guy is a trip, man. He is just all fastballs today, dude. And in fairness, it was your birthday.
It was my birthday. You caught me in birthday mode. Yeah.
And that was a big one for you. 43. Such a big one, a big milestone.
Yeah, I know. That's why to be honest, I feel like some people must come to my birthday party each year and go, "Okay, we get it." So I think this year I'm just gonna invite my close buddies and just be like, "Hey, if anybody wants to comes." But I maybe I shouldn't overdo it at 44. That seems a little bit.
I make a big deal about my birthday.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem, but I'm like, I don't want to make people feel obligated for. That's another. There we go, people pleaser. I'm like, now I'm thinking people are like, "Oh God, I gotta go to Donnelly's fucking Irish bar birthday." just is idiot, this drunk idiot, just roaming around going, "You leaving?" Everybody has the same impression of me at the bar when I go. They go, I won't let people leave. People have brought it up to me so much. I'm the guy, if you're leaving, I'll go, "What do you mean you're leaving? Don't leave. Like, hang out. And I always thought it was a polite thing to do because I'm like, I wanted you to be included in the hang. But everybody's like, "Yeah, you can't do the Irish goodbye with Donnelly," because he's like, "You're leaving? Why?" All that.
Yeah.
So I've stopped doing it.
You know what that kind of makes me think about is, real quick, we are also, we should also never say to each other again is "I'm just going to go for one." We have never
good-
just went for one.
It'll
And
never.
I've never just went for one.
It'll never happen.
But what I was going to say.
And I think, do you think we're at the point where we know, like, you know, when you say it, you even know. But to be honest, I did, last time I said that to you, we were like, I don't know, man, I don't want to go overboard. I go, well, I'll just get you one. I really did think, like, we go for one. Because I was like, oh, we're both kind of strapped for cash. Let's go for one.
But the problem is I love drinking a lot.
So do I.
Jameson.
Yes, Jameson I love.
And it just goes down so smooth. And
This is
we
the
are
good one.
looking for sponsors. You don't even have to pay us. We'll plug you every episode. Just send us a free bottle. But what I was saying is I think part of the reason why I feel so inclined to people please is I've had friends in the past give me objections when I say I don't want to do something. And I hate that. And I never do that to anybody. Do you know what I mean? When you're like, hey, do you want to come out and drink tonight? And if a friend said that to me, I would go, no, I can't tonight. And then they go, why? And I'm immediately like, what kind of fucking excuse can I think of to tell this person? You know? And sometimes it is like a money thing, or it is something where I'm super hungover, or there's something that I'm a little embarrassed of that I don't want to tell them. There's partially that. And then there's also, I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
And I've had friends that have given me shit in the past about it.
You know what it is? Last time I asked you to hang out, you were like, at first you were like, no. And I'm like, oh, is it a cash? I think I was prying. But I think I was like, if not, no. I think I usually followed up with like, if not, no sweat. Don't worry about it.
That was a cash thing.
Yeah. But I mean, like, but then you came out anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm like, when you came out, I was like, oh, I forced him to come out. I try not to make it where I force anybody to come out. But once you're out, I'm like, don't leave.
No, it wasn't that. I also have severe FOMO too.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like not FOMO as in like, I don't know, like I'm gonna miss something cool. It's just I would be sitting there at my house watching TV and be like, I could be goofing around and laughing hard with friends and drinking. It's not like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna miss something there. They might run into fucking
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, Dave Chappelle might be at the Irish Rover in Astoria. Yeah,
They might run into the Booker from
yeah, right.
Grove 43. No, yeah, I know what you mean. You're like, why don't I go do something? Like, it's like, why don't I go out and go hang out?
Yeah, like I don't have a fear that you and Colin and Kevin, after going out, would have been like, Ray, you missed it last night. You know,
Like the Attell joke.
the 90s.
10 minutes after you left, the Dixie Chicks broke in and started blowing everybody.
Yeah,
Even the fat kid with the Babylon 5 T-shirt got a hand job.
yeah. That's not what I'm worried about. It's just more in the moment. I'm like, man, I'm fucking bored.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, and I think it's like a thing where you have to do more stuff. There's times where I'm like bummed that I've been like, I'm not gonna go out, and there's times where I'm like, oh, I made the exact right decision. Especially when it's like that happened the other night, and it was some random birthday party of a comic that I barely know, and I was like, oh, we're at Comedy Shop. Do you want to come? I'm like, yeah, I'll go by. And then I'm like, hey, you guys still there? And then I'm like, what am I doing? I'm exhausted, and I just didn't go. But I did make it seem like I was going, and I never followed up with a, hey, I'm sorry, I can't come text.
What is that breaking point for you with being uncomfortable though? Like, because I have,
Uncomfortable with requests like that, or?
Well, yeah, like, or really in any situation, because I've put myself in some uncomfortable ass situations because I didn't want to say no to somebody, or because I didn't want to be disappointing.
Dude, I had one. What, do you want to say yours first?
No, I don't really have one that I could think of offhand.
No, I've done the same thing as well. But I've had uncomfortable situations come out of. I had a breaking point on a thing that I didn't think would be an uncomfortable situation that immediately turned into one of a whole uncomfortable night, and then the boiling point got so high that I full on broke down. Like, I just lost it. I'll try to. I'm not going to say names on this. Did a road gig with a few comics. It was in in your state in Philadelphia, and had a situation where the comic that was running it, he was like, "I'll pick you up in Jersey and we'll drive down." And I was like, "Sure." And so me and a couple of the other comics, we took the train to Jersey. He picked us up, and I sat in the front. And it was just a barrage of loud, annoying conversation from like immediately, right? And I was like, "What is going on here?" Like, it was like not somebody that's like on 10, and you're just like, "Can we just chill here? Can we just?" And like, I know I'm a yeller, I am a loud voice, but I do know how to chill though. I can chill and I can be normal. And this guy just didn't have that. He's talking up the show. He's talking up his booking skills and his producing skills, and telling him he told this guy this, that, bah, 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 would not stop, nonstop. An 2-hour ride just straight down in my face, spit in the face, and it was one of those conversations where you're like, yeah, that's great, that's why, and you're trying to get a word in, and you can't.
And that's a weird situation when you encounter somebody that can't tell what they're doing to you.
With no self-awareness. And then you're like, well, it's not my responsibility. I don't have it in me to say, you have to stop. Like, I don't have it in me because that's not us. Well, I don't have it in me to go, dude, relax.
And you don't know what's going to happen after that point. Do you know what
I
mean?
Right, exactly. So, what, I mean, his reaction?
Well, I think what goes on in my head in those situations, and not to totally derail the story you're on, because it's we're getting good, but I think in my head, okay, I can deal with being annoyed and uncomfortable right now more than I can deal with the fact that I think saying something would hurt this guy's feelings.
Yeah, and that's, hey, we're just in the beginning of this thing, and that's what I was at. I was like, oh, this is just him. He's a little bit of an erratic guy. I got it. It wasn't that big of a deal, but I was like, this seems really intense for like a chill ride down to this place, right? So he's nonstop. All the rest of the comics were all uncomfortable, or like kind of like, what the hell's going on? So we get down to the club. He's talking about how great the show's going to be. It starts pouring raining. We get down there. We try to kind of escape from this dude because he won't stop talking. He's following us around the club. One of the comics finds out he's making $50 less than he was told, so he doesn't know if he should bring that up. It's just an absolute shit show. We're all just trying to relax, and we're getting like just tension headaches from how annoying this person is, and it won't stop. And we do the show, and we tell the guy, because it was me closing, this dude hosting, this girl going up after the host, the producer going up right before me, and then me supposed to do 45 minutes.
Yeah.
We had a lot of comics. We wanted to make the early train back from Jersey, so we tell him, don't do more than this time. Of course, he does 10 minutes over that time. We're annoyed about that. He's making us late for the train even more. We have to take the later train. The drive back, to make the story a little bit shorter, the drive back, same thing. I'm in the front again. Right in the ear. I also had an awful set. There was 30 people there. I think it was all his family. You couldn't see anybody. It wasn't like where it was a low light where you could barely see anybody, where you could see the room at least. It was like space. You couldn't see anything out. I think it was an awkward situation. I had an awful set. We're driving back to the train. Same thing, right in the face. Me and the other comics are literally texting each other. I'll give this guy the money back if he shuts the fuck up right now.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Everybody else is not.
Everybody's on board. And then on top of it, at this point, I'm trying to go, yeah, I hear you, man, but, all right. But I'm not saying stop talking because I don't have it in me to do that. We get to the train station.
Or at this point, not stop talking, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah, shut the fuck up. We get to the train station. I go, okay, man, thanks so much. I got to go buy my ticket. He goes, I'll wait around for you guys. I go, not necessary. No, it's fine. So everybody's miserable at this point. We get out of the car. They are standing around. I go get my ticket from inside the place in the ticket center thing, whatever. I go get it. I walk out. All I see is two miserable faces, the other comics, and this dude, and he's just doing the same thing to that. That's why, and something in me just snapped. Something in me just snapped, and I go, that's it. I go, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. That's it. I go, that's it. I go, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And you would have seen his face. He knew something was up. I didn't say F you or anything like that. Oh, that's it. We're done. Thank you. Thank you. I give him like one of our awkward handshakes really hard.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Let's go. And I'm like up and I'm freaking out. I'm like, I can't take this guy's voice. So we go up on the train platform. We're walking. We get out of his line of sight because he's back by his car. And we're all looking at each other like, what the fuck was that? What is going on? We're like shell-shocked. We get down to our spot. You know, you walk down the train. It's New Jersey Transit. We walk all the way down. We're like, all right, we're waiting for the train. 15 seconds, we're up there. We look to the left. He's walking down the platform towards us. Coming towards on the platform.
My God.
Pointing up in the air going, train delayed? I think the train's delayed. Is the train delayed? And I'm going, what? Apparently there's a notice, a message on the machine going, train will be 10 minutes delayed. But I didn't even hear it because I was so frazzled. And I go, no, we're going, no, it's fine. Go back.
Yeah.
You know, and we're like,
because if you come over here, I'm going to throw you in the tracks in 10 minutes when this train comes.
So we're like, no, it's fine. Go back. And he's like, I'll drive you guys. I go, no.
Drive back?
Back to the city.
Oh, God, no.
And we go, no. And he just ignores us, comes down. He starts talking to them again, the other two. I go 50 feet over. I'm on my phone, just texting people like, what the hell, whatever. Train comes, we wave goodbye, and they get on. We go back.
Oh,
dude,
man,
it was.
You know what?
They should use him at Guantanamo. They should have used him at Guantanamo. They would have given him all the information. Where those next planes coming?
I had a little bit of a revelation in listening to that story.
Yeah,
is that I think the only time that I am not that much of a people pleaser is when it has to do with something that I consider myself knowledgeable in, or like a world where I have some stake and some clout. And I'm not saying that I have clout in comedy, like, you know, I could tell, but I know
what you mean.
I've been doing it a while, so I am a lot more comfortable in being harsh on my opinions and, you know, speaking up for myself and being, you know, vocal when something annoys me or irritates me.
Yes.
It's just like that. And then I was thinking how we were talking about having harsh opinions on movies. Because I love movies. I've seen enough movies. And then I guess when those situations come outside of that in the real world, that's a hard one to say.
Real world.
Yeah.
Real
world. In the real world, I don't think of myself as somebody that has maybe accomplished enough, or that's where all my insecurities lie, is I don't feel like I'm an expert as a person.
I 100% agree. And I feel the same exact way. Because when it comes to comedy and certain things that I think are within my wheelhouse and I'm very good at, I will tell you how it is. But when it comes to, like, I don't know, opening up a bank account, like basic life skills. Yeah. I want to do a bit now. I even told you about it, and I can talk it out on the podcast. Yeah. Working out bits with Ray and Sean. But I said, I'm almost a stepdad. I'm like, I don't even know if I can do that because even I can't do adult shit. I can't go to my girlfriend's son and be like, hey, he's like, how do I tie a tie? And I'm like, I don't know. Ask your dad. And when he tells you, come back and tell me.
Yeah,
because
let
that's
me know.
Kind of where I'm at. Like, I have no confidence in a lot of life shit. Changing a tire, a bunch of basic stuff.
Dude, I get this thing where I'll go back home to Pittsburgh and my brother and some other people will be in a conversation out here and they're talking about refinancing and mortgages on houses. And I'm just like, yeah, really, I just Venmo my roommate who's the only one on the lease every month. So it's really where I'm at.
You know, just by sheer stupidity, we're off the grid.
Yo, that is a fucking quote. That is one of the best quotes because that is my life. By sheer stupidity, I am off the grid.
We're like, yeah, 100%. Like,
my car is registered in Pennsylvania, and hopefully my insurance company's not listening to this. but it's registered in Pennsylvania, and my old car, as I just got a new car, I was late on a couple payments to the point where I was pushing being repoed.
Yeah.
But they don't know where the fuck I am. And it's not because, I am this fugitive renegade, Robert De Niro in Heat. No, it is because I am too dumb and too lazy to figure out how to transfer all my stuff over to New York. I've been here almost 3 years.
Yeah.
I still got a Pennsylvania driver's license, Pennsylvania insurance, Pennsylvania car,
Dude, I full on am owed $200 from this arts council thing because I didn't put in to get a W-9 with them to get paid. I'm like, can you just Venmo me the money? Like, can you? Like, I am pretty broke, and there's like money out there. That, like, my assets are tied up just out of me not wanting to do the work to get the money.
Yeah.
Like it's absolutely the amount of times that I'm like I do stuff to just make things easier on me is remarkable. Like it's out of control. I'm ashamed on a daily basis of what I haven't done. And
I retired in 2017. I'm not kidding you. I quit the day job that I was working, and just for 9 months lived off of my 401k. And it was one of those things where I was like, I'm gonna spend this time quitting this job that I hate, and I'm really gonna focus on what I want to do in life, And instead, I just got drunk, took trips. Went to the casino at 3 p.m, and it was like, oh, me having that type of disposable income and free time is a danger to myself.
Yeah. Like when you hear about all those stories about like people, like I watch Shark Tank all the time and I love it. But like I'm always like, yeah, what's my Shark Tank idea? But I'm like, I would never have one because I'm watching Shark Tank. Like the people who have those ideas and are that driven do not watch Shark Tank. They're too busy doing the thing that's going to make them the money. But when you hear about all those things, you ever hear about the stories about the guy from one company was offered, it's like tech companies and stuff like that, and they're like, they hold out for the billions because they know they have a great idea and they're willing, and they're kind of calling a bluff a little bit, but they're also full on, like they believe in their idea and they're driven enough to make it get to that point, or hopefully make it to get to that point. And they luck out and they end up instead of making like, I don't know, 10 million, they make like 4 billion or something crazy like that, right?
Yeah.
I hear those stories. Just the first part of the story, I'm like, take the 10 million.
Yeah, take the money
and retire. Like if I made $3 million, I'd be gone.
Dude, I would have sold Uber for 10 grand. Also, on cue while we're having this conversation, a bill collector was just calling me on my phone. And I don't know which bill collector it is. I thought I was pretty caught up on some things, but I know, I don't know anybody from that area.
Let me ask you this, because we have to wrap up pretty soon, or we can just keep going, whatever you want to do. Do you have both sections of the show? Do you have a jerk store moment or a jerk of the week? I kind of have both from the same story, but do you have anything from this week?
I have a jerk of the week, and it is
Putin.
Somehow not Vladimir Putin. It is the guy that we talked about on last week's episode that I did the impression of. It's Ben Shapiro having like a super harsh take on the Batman. If you were somebody that's supposed to be some type of political expert, or be somebody that you want to accept their political takes, maybe not have a harsh opinion about a fucking superhero movie, dork.
Well, it also, you know what it is? It kind of proves what we were saying about that stuff. Like the fact that that's why they're not real people. They're not real intellectuals. They're not real. They are just pundits, and they know the algorithm. So he knows his take on Batman is going to show up in front of your eyes because he's figured out this is the stuff I need to talk about. I have all my opinions about politics, and that's when that doesn't work, then Batman's trending. I'll talk about Batman.
That'll get me in the algorithm.
There's no more. Hey, this is my expertise. I'm going to talk on this. I'm going to talk about what's trending, so I stay in the lexicon of the public eye.
Well, I think even politicians, I always worry about, does this person actually, and we won't get into a political conversation.
No,
I'll
we
just
shouldn't.
delete it from the podcast.
Right.
But no, I mean, What I'm saying is I always wonder, and even people on TV, even sports analysts that like a Stephen A. Smith, you hear them, and I want to know. I know obviously know there's things for dramatics, but what percentage of you knows how full of shit you are? What percentage of you knows actually has these opinions, or what percent? Do you know what I mean? Like when a politician makes a big deal about something, you're like, does he actually care about healthcare for all, or does he know that that'll get him votes?
You know what I think? I think that spans both parties. So I think we're kind of good. We're not taking either side here, which is good for the podcast because we're really not political. But we 2 weeks in a row, I guess.
That's why I don't have any political opinions, is because there's not a lot of shit that I care that much about.
Right, and I think really what it is that when there are people who care, I think you can tell. But I still think it's politician caring. So I think you're gonna have that show business for ugly people angle on it. That's what they call politics. Show business for ugly people, which is really, really funny.
Really?
Yeah. And it's true. Like when people that's why when you ever hear hey, I'm at my job. My job is the politics is really bullshit at my job. What?
This made me think of your job. The bit.
Yeah. But people talk about politics in situations all the time. But that is what the word means. So the actual business of politics, there's a lot of semantics and BS going on. Actually makes sense because they're just talking. It's just a bunch of hot air. So I think what happens. I think being comics, we know people, and I think you can tell who are the bullshitters and who are the ones just based off how they speak, their actions, stuff like that. So I think the ones that are actually doing stuff, like somebody like Bernie Sanders. Do I think Bernie Sanders has an ego? Yeah, but do I do think he has conviction and believes what he's saying? Yeah. Some of them, I think they could have been saying anything as long as they're still have the power, still have the attention, still have whatever.
Well, as much as I didn't like him, I thought at the beginning Trump believed some of the shit that was coming out of his egomaniac mouth.
I never did because I knew him from the. I think he believes it in the minute that he's saying it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But I think that knowing, God, we're gonna talk about Trump. Knowing how Trump, knowing for 30 years you grew up in New York and he's so much tabloids. The guy's always been a clown, so I wouldn't. When you think of that, you're supposed to be like, it's supposed to be serious, and it's not. So that right away, I was like, I'm not on board with it.
Well, he's the ultimate opposite of us. That guy.
He's the purest form of. He is not a brand new jerk. He is a old school jerk.
Old school jerk.
Like he is the purest form of just ego. The best thing I ever heard about him, and this is also just personality based. There's people like this.
Yeah.
One of the reporters that was on his campaign trail was like, I think he's just trying to survive whatever 10 minutes he's in. He'll say whatever he's almost like a POW. Like he'll just if you're a POW, you're trying to get out of that POW camp, you'll say whatever, you'll charm the pants of any one of your captors just to get out of there, right? For the most part.
Yeah.
That's what he is. There's no morals, there's no actual conviction, there's no any kind of virtues or anything. It's just him talking.
Imagine publicly calling Rosie O'Donnell a fat pig and then having zero remorse for it. Do you know what I mean?
Never.
That would be so fucking strange. But
that's why it works too, because everything just rolls off his back. So people the same way we want to be kind of jerks. People who are already jerks and kind of bozos, they're like, oh, he's like the Transformers. He's the Megatron. He is the Voltron of being an asshole. And I aspire to not give a fuck about what anybody thinks.
But he genuinely does not.
I don't think he does.
He's the opposite of a people pleaser because he thinks the people are already pleased, and if they're not, they're wrong.
He doesn't care. He's only caring about his money and then the attention that's being put onto him.
But going back to us not being political guys or having political opinions, I think that could be a reason that we are people pleasers. And maybe I'm speaking for you, so tell me if I'm not. But one of the reasons I'm a people pleaser is just naturally there are not a lot of things that I care about that harshly in life to argue about it or to bring up points about it or to be a contrarian. And one of the main things that I hate are people that are too passionate about shit that doesn't matter.
I agree to an extent. I think I kind of wish I probably had something that I think also being informed. I think that comes from personally. I think that comes out of me being not informed enough on certain topics to be. I feel confident enough to be arguing them.
Yeah.
That doesn't stop people, and not even politics. I mean, anything really. But I do think, like we said earlier in the episode, the things that we do have the conviction for are comedy and movies and music. Sometimes, like if you catch me in a bar, you'll get my opinions on music. You know, whatever.
Well, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. In the political world, I don't think of myself as any level. I'm a white belt at best. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into many fights.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, and I'm also the same way that we're saying how much I do think Trump's a bozo. I also think the people that still give a shit about that whole scenario are also in the same realm where it's
Yeah.
like, well, you also showing how vapid you are because you won't stop talking about this guy. He's gone. He lost. Like, just give it up. Move on.
It's going back to one of the first things that we talked about on the podcast, and I don't even think this was an episode that we released, is that the best way that I describe how I generally feel about things is that I hate when people don't say thank you when you hold the door open for them. At the same time, I hate the guy that just held the door that makes a big deal about them not saying thank you. I just think
You don't like performative outrage.
No.
On any level, even if
No.
it's one word, all the way to your Twitter account, putting a French flag behind your picture on your Facebook or something, and all this bullshit stuff. That's just the thoughts and prayers bit, which I brought up on the show. Which I agree. I hate phony conviction or phony morality or phony when we know you actually don't care.
It bums me out.
Me too.
I
But-
love that you've been using bozo a lot.
Oh, you like Bozo. Yeah, I say
Yeah.
Bozo. Yeah, I love Bozo. My favorite thing ever was a video, talk about jerks of the week. And they still are kind of popular online. I'm on TikTok all the time. The Island Boys. Did we already talk about the Island Boys? There's a
might have
great clip, which I don't think I've said, of the original Island Boys video of them in a pool rapping awful
they're
rapping.
good.
So good, you said?
I like them.
You don't like them.
Yeah.
But there's these two guys. I ever thought everybody knew about Island Boys. I asked a couple of comics. They had no idea what I was talking about. There's these two idiots from Florida. They have like sideshow Bob haircuts. They're tattooed up from head to toe. And they had a TikTok video that went insanely viral. And they're twins. They're like these two Cuban twins of them going, he's an island boy. He's an island. And it's just it's supposed to make you mad, and also half the population loves it. They think it's cool. And I think that's probably it decides if you're a Gen Xer or a Zennial or not, if you hate their guts.
They look like the Gen Z version of those two twins from the second Matrix movie.
It's their kids that just came out of the program. Anyway, so my favorite thing to happen in the past month or two, whatever it was, is a clip. I love that's why I like Snoop Dogg, because Snoop Dogg is not that far off. I think he might be 50 now or 51. I'm 43. There's a clip of him and Kevin Hart. I think it's before the Olympics or something. Some kind of clip of them on a panel, and they're watching the Island Boys. And they cut to Snoop, and he goes, just two goofballs in a pool. He's called them goofballs. I love that shit.
You like
Clown, goofball, bozo. To me, that's the most insulting thing you can say.
Oh, see, I use goofball kind of more of a term of endearment.
Oh no,
I'm a goofball.
You fucking goofball. You clown. You absolute clown. I love that. I think that's more cutting than being you asshole or you would.
Because I'm going to start using bozo, I think.
Yeah, start using bozo.
I like, you know what I was thinking about bringing back? Punk.
This punk.
That dude's a punk.
Maybe it's come with your age. You're getting your 30s.
Yeah.
Maybe, this punk won't get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn, you punk.
You just become Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood and Gran Torino.
Just racist Ray.
Just cracking off a bunch of Polish jokes.
But dude, I have the same story that happened to me today, so it's fresh. I'm a big the same way with not talking in movie theaters. You do not cut a line in front of me. Do not cut a line, right?
You'll say something?
Yeah.
Because that's not people pleaser behavior.
It's not. And today I did a thing where I was at George's Deli, great deli on 20th Avenue in Astoria.
Make a hell of
Queens.
a chopped cheese.
They absolutely do. They make great Philly cheesesteak. They make great everything. Great cold, everything. Grilled cheese I had there. Any cheese-based dish that you'd like to have. Anyway, I'm there, and it's one of these delis where there isn't a set line where you know where the line is. That happens a lot in New York. There's 2 paths you can take to go to the register.
I hate it. It's chaotic.
It sucks. And it gets really busy in there, right? So to be honest, it was almost like I was like a proxy for somebody else because I had nowhere to go. I actually didn't mind for myself waiting, but there was a dude in front of me. Seemed like a young guy, had a mask on, really timid. Multiple people just cutting in front of this dude from the other angle on how to get to the cashier. And I'm just watching this happen. And then there was a dude who came after me that came in, that went and got his stuff and then went the opposite route, that other angle. And he was online and he was kind of doing that same thing where he was going to cut this kid again. And this kid was not saying anything.
Yeah.
So full on, at first, I just go to the kid, I go, yo, just pay for your stuff, man. I'm like, go pay for your stuff. And then he didn't say anything. So the guy, I go, hey, man, I think he's before you on this line. And the guy, he was inching up. He was going past the kid.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, oh, no. Yeah, go ahead. I'm like, nah, man, don't give me the innocent act because I didn't say this.
Oh, okay.
But I was like, nah, just let him go, man. Let him go. Because I was like,
we got to get that kid on the podcast.
We should. Because I was getting mad. The thing about it is I was getting mad like for him. I was like, why don't you? But I was also getting mad at him at the same time. Like, go, man. Show some balls. Just go. And it's just a line at a fucking deli. You see this guy came in 15 minutes after you. Go up. Pay for your shit.
You are such a New Yorker. That is such a New York thing where you just said, I was mad at him for not jumping up and paying for his shit, and I was mad at everybody else for taking advantage of him.
Yeah, exactly. So I full on say to the guy, I go, and then after the kid went up, I go, all right, man, you can go in front of me if you want. Like I was trying to be like, hey, I'm not going to be like, it's for me.
You were Robin Hooding.
I was Robin. I was Robin.
You were doing a Robin
Hood.
It's
a great term.
George's Deli.
The thing that pissed me off about, so my jerk store moment was saying something to the guy, and then my jerk of the week was kind of this kid in front of me because not only did he wait all the time and waste my time. I helped him out, got him to the front. He ignores me on the way out, doesn't give me the nod or the thanks or anything.
Oh, see?
Nothing. I need the praise. I want my praise.
Need the praise.
I want my praise. But it was kind of both moments happening at the same time, jerk store and jerk of the week.
Well, if you're out there listening, which he should be listening because it sounds like he is a people pleaser, a little thanks after somebody helps you out will do you some good.
I do it all the time.
I'm talking to him. If he's out there listening.
Yeah, if you're out there listening.
What was his name? What would you think his name is?
I can't. I'll be racist if I say I can't say. You can't hoodwink me like that. You can't ask somebody, a white guy, to go, what do you think that guy's name is if you had to guess? No.
Okay. I think I know his name.
Yeah. You're not even going to say it. You can't put me in a corner.
Well.
How about Ralph? His name is Ralph.
I don't. If he's working in a call center, it would probably be Ralph.
Why is that?
Oh, I was guessing he was Indian.
Jesus Christ.
Well, now I know what he is by process. This is like the worst game of Guess Who ever. We might be deleting this part. Who knows though?
You never know.
Do you take the last thing? I guess in closing, because I love bozo, I love punk, I love those. I don't know. I don't even know what you would call. I guess they're insults to an extent. But do you know what I take offense to?
What
is certain uses of the word bud?
I you know what's so funny you say this? I used to get annoyed at Chief. I don't like Chief.
Oh, fuck Chief, dude. I'll kill you.
Chief is there's a tone with Chief and Bud.
And Boss.
And Boss. Boss probably can have both. I think Chief and Bud I think are always, what's up, Bud? Or like yeah, Bud maybe has a borderline. Chief is always like, you are talking down to me.
Let me hear your power ranking of the most offensive to you between Chief, Bud, Pow, and Boss. I know I'm putting you on the spot, and this could change.
Okay, it's good. Yeah,
you know.
Don't quote me on this, but
okay.
Most offensive to least offensive, or least offensive to most offensive?
And
Pow is least offensive.
And we'll put this out. We'll put this out to a vote on social media.
Yes, please. Pow is least offensive. And what'd you say, Chief?
Chief, Pow, Bud, and Boss.
So number 1 is Chief, number 2 is Bud, number Boss, and then Pow. in descending order. Least offensive is pal to me. What's up, pal?
I think I would agree with you. I think Pal had a little bit of time in the sun as the most offensive, and it was like, hey, why don't you watch yourself, pal?
Well, that's different.
But that was, I think that's when people were just using pal a lot. I don't think anybody uses pal, period.
Right. It's kind of antiquated. But
Chief is brutal.
I don't think, hey, what's up there, Chief? Like, if you're the go-to opening phrase on a Jerky Boys phone call, you know that nobody means Chief ever. Like, no, it's never been said with any kind of anything behind it of like, hello, my friend, how are you? Like, I'll say my friend. I say my friend to a lot of places.
You do say my friend, like,
how are you, my friend?
Like you're working at a resort in Cancun, Mexico.
but I do mean thank you, my friend. Like, I think it's a good. I don't know. I just think it's a good thing to say. Never will you catch me say Chief. What's up there, Chief? I think that's so pompous.
Well, Chief is twofold now because Chief is not only always meant to be condescending or sarcastic. Now it's offensive because it's you're making fun of Native Americans, probably.
See, I never associated to Native Americans.
I'm starting to do it now.
I always think of I always thought of it as like the chief of police or the fire chief.
Well, that's where that comes from, though.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But they still say fire chief and chief of police, though. That's never been canceled.
I'm canceling them.
You can't.
Yeah, I'm done with it. Listen, NYPD. If you keep calling the leader of your department the chief of police, canceled.
I'm gonna have a petition. You have to call chief of police. Number one cop. The big guy.
Lead police officer.
Lead police officer. But actually, that already is a thing, I think. Lead officer on something.
Oh, really?
Lead officer on an investigation.
Oh, the lead.
But
I'd be a lead detective.
You have to make it sound really goofy. Be like the bossy boss. Like
the king of the king of police.
The king of bang bang. Like just the king of shoot shoot.
You were right, though. You nailed it. I think... we will put it out to a vote. Maybe we'll put it out to a vote before the episode comes out. Might be
I
best,
think we should.
And then they could see what's the most offensive, and not even most offensive. Just what's the most like. All right, you're fucking with me. You're treating me like an asshole. Chief is
I'm gonna pretend I'm familiar with you, but I don't want to get to know you. That's what that is.
Yeah.
That's I'm pretending to be your friend, but I'm keeping my distance. That's what chief is. Yeah, I don't have time to learn your name. You're chief to me.
What about kid?
What's up there, kid? I say kid, and I always get shit for it because I'll say it. Well, I say it in two ways. I don't say what's up there, kid, but it's always to my friends, but I don't mean anything by it. And I say this kid did this, and my friends are like,
you do say kid for when you're talking about a man,
and I'm talking about a full-grown,
a
lot of the times over 35-year-old man.
I could always tell how drunk my dad was when I talked to him on the phone by what he called me. And kid was when I knew he had a little buzz going on.
But he was saying it like, what's up there, kid?
No, he'd be like, hey, what's going on, kid?
Yeah, but if you were one of his buddies, would he say it again, or was it because you were his kid?
It was because I was his kid.
Okay, so that's another thing. If you're actually saying it with the real meaning of the word.
Ray when he's sober, Raymond when he's a little drunk, then kid is when he starts getting real loose, and then son, he's blacked out.
What I always wanted to, once again, I might try to do a joke about this. I'm not trying to farm out material here, but I always wondered.
No, it's fine. You fucking workshop at me.
I was always wondering at what point, which I am one of these people now, at what circumstances in my life turned me into a have a good one guy. I never was a have a good one guy.
You never have a good one guy?
And then I adopted it. I don't even know what the one is. I guess it's a one of anything. Like it's a have a good one of anything. I always kind of would maybe scoff at a little bit when I was younger. And then one day I just was a have a good one guy.
I like have a good one.
I like have a good one. I think it's pretty folksy and it's very familiar and I enjoy it. But I don't know. I could not tell you the inception of me becoming a have a good one guy.
I would say in the past 6 years, I became a big take it easy.
Take it easy. Yeah.
That's kind of how I live my life. I'm easy breezy, you know?
Yeah.
I should be in a Hawaiian shirt. I should be at a beach at all times. I'm all about taking it easy, relaxing.
I definitely say take it easy. I'm trying to think of that sign off is its own thing. and have a good one is one of them.
I do a lot of brother. I drop a Hulk Hogan amount of brothers.
Brother, what's up there, brother? I say brother now too.
Yeah, I say
and I've been doing
brother.
that for a couple years, and I'm like, oh, that also is like where'd that come
I appreciate it, brother.
from? You know what I liked? I saw either I heard somebody say it in public or I saw it maybe on some, I don't know, maybe something. And have a great day. What do you think of that?
Get that out of my face. I don't like it. Have a great day. It's too generic. There's no warmth to it anymore.
You think so?
Have a great day. What are you, a cashier?
Maybe that is like a cashier thing, but for some reason, like maybe because it's so outside what I say that I'm like, well, maybe that is nice to say. Have a great day. Have a great day.
No. Do you
think there's ways you can say it where you mean it, where you're like,
no, I don't think you can ever say it and really mean it unless it's somebody that you know well, and the people that you know well, you're not going to say that general ass shit to
at
them.
least it's more zeroed in than have a good one could be like have a good life, have a good day. It's very vague. Have a great day. You're like, I want you to have a great this exact thing.
I think it's actually kind of creepy too, and it's putting a lot of pressure on them.
Have a great day.
Don't put pressure on me to have a great day.
Don't tell me to have a great day.
Yeah, what if I needed to have a mediocre day today? What if I'm not on today?
What if my mom just died? Tell me I'm a great day. You don't know my life. You don't know my address.
Yeah, that's what. Next time somebody says to you, "Hey, Sean, have a great day," you just go, "Actually, my mom was mauled to death by tigers, so it's gonna be pretty tough." But thanks.
Yeah, so maybe you'll have a great day, but I won't because I have to go identify a body at the morgue.
Yeah, my day will be a fucking 5 at best, and that's 5 out of 17. I go on a way different scale than other people.
Okay. All right, have a good one. You yell at them and they go, all right, have a good one.
I'm going to start giving people advice when somebody says, have a great day. I'm going to be like, okay, I will. Future reference, don't put that kind of pressure on somebody. Next time, just say, take it easy. Have a good one.
Where's the
I might start saying, keep doing you.
There's an old school joke of keep doing you. You keep doing you. Ooh, that might be chief. You do you, bro. Oh my God, that might be chief.
Not you do you.
Keep doing you.
Keep doing you, brother.
There is
Brother
not
softens
one
it.
authentic
Keep doing you, chief.
letter behind that. Yeah, keep doing you, chief. I would probably kick you in the face. I'll kick you right in your fucking Pittsburgh face if you ever said that to me.
Keep doing you, chief.
Keep doing you, chief. No. I would just to spite you, I would kill myself in front of you. Just to go, I'm not going to keep doing me. I'm going to end me and then just shoot myself in the head.
Why did Sean kill himself? I got no idea. I didn't say anything to him. But
keep doing you, chief. Keep doing you, chief. All right there, chief. Keep doing you.
Message us if anybody could think of a better sign off to a conversation or a worse sign off to a conversation than keep doing you, chief. That's not like, see you later, cocksucker.
I think
that's warmer.
I think I see a lot of cocksucker. Yeah. It is because it probably means you're familiar with them enough to call them a cocksucker.
Yeah.
But like, my intention always is to be as familiar as like familiar as possible without overdoing it. Where like you never want to make it pretend like you're like, hey, I'm such great friends with somebody. But like even the thing I told you on another episode where I was like, if I'm texting somebody for the first time, I'll say instead of saying, hey, it's Sean Donnelly, I'll say, hey, it's Donnelly.
It's Donnelly.
Which I get called Donnelly a lot. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's like trying to be like a little bit familiar in the opening. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I also am not going to be like, I don't know, be like, oh my God, how are you? Like,
you don't want to be too familiar.
Not too familiar, yeah. So if I say, hey, it's Donnelly, give me a text back about X, Y, and Z.
It's like how everybody that's fans of my buddy Bill call him Billy. Like all of Bill's fans.
I'm sorry, Bill who?
Oh, Bill Joel. Who I'm going to see this month.
Do you imagine if you were the guy that did that with everybody who had a nickname in there? How many? Actually, you know what's so funny? It is kind of weird that he's this hugely, universally famous musician, and he has like a little kid's name.
Yeah, grow up, dude.
Are you going to the Billy Joel concert? Yeah.
Grow up, bud.
But I know people familiar with Bill Burr call him Billy Burr. It is it's a familiar thing. But Bill, you're saying you're close personal friends with Bill Joel.
Yeah.
Bill Joel.
He actually doesn't like being called Billy because he does feel like it's childish. He told me that.
Any other like what other famous musicians or actors are there where it's like, oh yeah, even for a really serious guy, shouldn't it be Tom Lee Jones? Why is it Tommy Lee Jones?
Right.
He's the guy that like full on. You ever hear that story about Tommy Lee Jones when they were working on Batman Forever?
No.
He saw Jim Carrey at a restaurant, and I forget the exact quote, but he walked up to him and he was like, I think maybe Jim Carrey. He's like, I think he might have asked him, "Why don't you like me?" And he's like, "Because you're a buffoon." And he said something else. I forget the quote, but look it up. It's a famous story. But it's also like, fuck you. Your name's Tommy.
Yeah.
How can you be that serious if your name's Tommy?
Tommy Lee Jones might be a Hall of Fame jerk for that, dude.
He's
What
known
an
for that
asshole.
shit, dude. He's a serious. Even at award shows, look at all these clips. Everybody's laughing. He's in the audience, and I think people think it's for a bit, like he's trying to play deadpan. I think he's just I think he just is the guy from No Country for Old Men.
And that wrinkly. No, he was nice. in
Actually,
that.
he was. He was really nice.
Yeah,
in
that wrinkly faced asshole. He's had 60-year-old man face for the last fucking
you're
25
right.
years.
Why does he look the same now as he did in Fugitive? He has the same exact face. Was it a mask they put on?
He is weathered, man.
He's a weathered dude. He's very weathered. Really good actor. I think he's very commanding performances, but not a nice guy apparently. Or maybe he is a nice guy to people that he respects, but he doesn't respect Jim Carrey.
Fuck him.
But all you hear about Jim Carrey is it's not Jimmy Carrey, but you don't. All
Yeah.
you hear about Jim Carrey is that maybe he's not the greatest guy either. You never know.
All right, last question before we wrap up. I think.
Yeah, I think this is a supersized episode.
this is
whoa. We might cut out 5 minutes,
This
but
is a Francis Ford Coppola directed episode.
this is a Hateful Eight on Netflix episode.
This is our Irishman. I was just gonna say, if your name was Robert, what do you think you'd go by?
You know what's so funny? I have a very good friend of mine who's named Robert, and I call him Bob, almost like half kidding, but I think he doesn't mind it. He likes it. My friend Robert Dean, and some people call him Rob. Some people call him. He goes by Robert professionally, Robert Dean. I call him Bob or Bobby because we're buddies. But and almost to be like, I just like the word Bob. I think Bob is a fun name for a friend. If it was mine, I would go by Bob or Bobby. I think that's a great.
You'd be a Bob
Or a Bobby. Bobby up until the age of 18.
I'm
then
saying
Bob.
for what you look like and how you carry
I think
yourself.
you meant what my choice.
I
be.
think you'd be a Bob.
Yeah, I'd definitely be a Bob. People think my name always. I've been called the same name wrong multiple times. I'm called Kevin a lot and Brian. And I have a cousin, Brian, but
You couldn't pull off Brian.
people call me Brian all the time.
Well, they're wrong.
What do you think you go by?
I would want to go by Bobby. I think Bobby sounds the coolest.
But as far as your looks go, I can see you being a Bobby.
I'm probably a Rob.
You know what? You are a Rob.
I'm a fucking Rob.
You are a Rob.
I know.
Yeah. But even Robert Dean, really funny comedian, has a bit about it. He goes, when do I become a Bob? Because he goes by Robert.
Okay.
And he goes, well, what do I have to do to become a Bob? And he's like, I got to get a tape measure and a mustache. And like he has a whole like.
Bob's the most masculine.
Bob's the most masculine. Yeah, I think so. You'd be.
I'd be Rob,
You'd be,
unfortunately.
yeah, I think you would be Rob.
Which is better than Robbie. I think Robbie's the worst you can be.
I think most of them don't want to be called Robbie, except for my cousin. I have a cousin Robbie, but then he's called both. I think he was Robbie up to a point, and now he's like a scientist. He can't be
wow.
Robbie the scientist. That sounds like a Nickelodeon show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Coming this fall.
coming this fall.
Robbie the
Robbie the scientist. I watch a lot of kids TV these days, so I know that it sounds like probably.
Yeah.
But that sounds pretty generic.
Sean, what do you say we get the hell out of here?
Let's get out of here, buddy. This
right.
was a good one.
Yeah. Shake on it.
Guys, do us a favor. We're really trying to give you as much as we can. So please do us a favor. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us.
Brand New Jerks
Brand
Pod.
New Jerks Pod. Follow us. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe, rate, and review for the show. We cannot stress this enough. If you review us on iTunes, the algorithm does it where they'll suggest the show to people. Do us a huge favor. Write a review. 5 stars for what's the most stars on iTunes?
5.
5 stars. Give us a glowing review if you enjoyed the podcast. If you didn't, shut the fuck up. Chief. And
And we also never forget where we came from. So everybody that has reviewed so far and has left messages, sent cool text messages, that type of thing, thank you. And we hope you keep listening.
100%. And we
Yeah.
will see you guys next week. Thank you so much. And now we end it
All right.
the same way each week
Absolutely.
with an awkward handshake into the camera.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah.
You do you, Chief.
Yeah.